All right, we are here live on Master Brews Monday, the inaugural Master Brews Monday.
Happy Pop Your Cherry Day, boys.
Yeah, oh God. Is that the pastry you're eating, Ross? A nice cherry Danish?
It was a cinnamon bun, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. Fair enough.
So before we even introduce you, Ross, you have to do one thing. I guess we'll make it part of the Master Brews Monday. You have to give a shout out to all the brewskis out there.
That's right.
Well, shout out to all the brewskis. I will name you all by name immediately. Jason, you're supposed to send me a list, right?
Yeah. Yes. It's coming.
Forget about it. Don't worry.
Right.
But no, I mean,
well, for those of you who don't know
Ross,
we don't know where you found us then, but welcome. Yeah. So Ross, you've done a couple things now in the NFT space, Heroes and Villains, Crowfolk. I believe there was another one I'm forgetting the name of. Was it Cyber Babes? Something?
Chrome.
Yeah, there's Chrome Girls and there's also Pokey Babes.
That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah.
So yeah, for anyone out there, Ross is the main the only colorist on Heroes and Villains. If I try to color, they're not going to look very pretty. So welcome, Ross, and thanks for joining us today. We are happy to have you.
It's my pleasure. I mean, thanks for letting me come on, and I'm honored to be the first, really.
Yeah. We have an interesting topic, I think, for people. We want this show every week to try to be educational, much as it is entertaining, and to try to actually hit on some topics that people are looking for more information for. So, I think here we have the perfect opportunity with you as someone who just launched kind of their real first project on their own, to get your feedback of, the whole situation, kind of a post-mortem, whatever you'd like to tell people, what you've learned since, what you would have done different, what you wouldn't have done different. And let's get into all that. And maybe Penguin, if you want to show people, the crows at some point, we'll get you to pull some up because the art is beautiful. I know I love my crows. And I'm not just saying that because Ross is on our show. I remember bugging Penguin and being like, I don't want to tell Ross, but I'm still missing one of my other birds. And I just wanted them because I like the art. So
yeah, absolutely. And shout out to everybody who watch. Before we get to that, Ross, shout out to everybody who's watching. Put some comments in the chat. Let us know you're here, and we will acknowledge your presence.
And I know Mark says hello because I was just talking to him. So,
nice one. Yeah.
That's right, Mr. Monkey Bean. Sorry, I'm never gonna let you talk, Ross. We're gonna keep
you're just a guest to look pretty.
Cutting you off.
Just charm people with my smile. That's all I do, really.
No, Jeff. Jeff, as always, you are right on time. We are here. We just started. We're just slowly ramping up as the viewers roll in. We are here to talk about Ross's project, Crowfolk, and kind of all the things that launching a new project that maybe doesn't go as well as you hope entails.
We're here to talk about the spiral to despair.
Spiral to despair.
Yeah. So without further ado, let's let Ross give us your intro here about it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, obviously I didn't prepare, but it's fine. We're gonna wing it. I'm not sure where to start, really. We put together what I consider a great project for sure, with the help of Jason, the Penguin VA, of course, which we commandeered from MasterBrews for a little bit, and the help of my brother and another developer named Eddie. And we put together something that I'm really proud of. I think we're all really proud of. And I don't know. I think it's just a very compelling product. However, we missed the mark really on the sort of hype train and the marketing, and we essentially launched, I think, before we had the numbers, really, before the member count was up there, before people had this sort of, this is a big thing, this is possibly something to keep an eye on, we launched it. I'm not sure what the Discord count was. It was like maybe 700, and there was only 999 crows. So it was a low supply thing. And so we always thought we don't need that many people. And hopefully when we start minting, people are going to show it off. And, say we only have 100 to mint to begin with. People will show off, and that'll sort of spread the word, that'll propagate, But it never happened, really. We launched at just shy of 3 Solana. And what happened was we had our main supporters. Among them was Keith, yourself, Tilting Shock, a few of the other Heroes and Villains folks. And thank you from the bottom of my heart. It really meant a lot to me that we got those first 10. Although it was still devastating. It was like, oh my God, we're not selling anything. I thought it was amazing, But it goes to show who's got your back, really, and who really loves the project and who believes in it, really. And so, yeah, I think the main takeaway is we launched before we had the numbers and the necessary hype for people to actually look into it and be like, you know what? It looks like if I don't buy in now, then I'm going to miss out, basically. Whereas with only that small 700 Discord member count, and we actually had about 320 whitelists, which I just automatically assumed like at least 80% of them are going to buy in no matter what. But again, that was another false assumption. It was just the experience was full of false assumptions made on my behalf, I would say, or maybe the team in general's behalf. I certainly made a lot of false assumptions. But
so as far as the chain, I'll interrupt you with questions if you don't mind.
Yeah, please.
When you guys decided to use Solana for this, did you consider other chains? Did you do a kind of a market? Where's the state of the market? What type of project is selling where? Like, what led you to just go forward with Solana for this particular project?
So we did consider others, Ethereum being one of them, and Wax being the other. I think we didn't dwell too long on it though. Ethereum, we figured, well, it has 80% of the market share. Last we checked, at least, and that's a fact. That's a big number that perhaps we should have taken more into account. Nonetheless, the issue of deploying a smart contract, at least from what I researched, was it's expensive. To deploy a custom contract. Although I've been told, perhaps there's other ways well, maybe you could tell me this, Keith. Instead of actually saving the contract on Ethereum, where it costs so many Ethereum Ether for each kilobyte of memory stored or something, can you write a contract that reads from IPFS instead, where IPFS would save you money?
No, it wouldn't save you. Like the contract deployment is still going to cost you for actually writing it to the blockchain. So you're not going to be able to save it as long as you're using it.
Right. Okay. Fair enough. That's what I figured. But so anyway, it's going to cost us money, and we're really starting from nothing. Essentially, we just sort of put money in. There was no marketing budget, although we did spend a little. By a little, I mean it was like sub $500 or something to get us started. And so this big cost for Ethereum up front was not really a possibility for us. And we considered Wax, but we also considered that Wax would be a good fit because it's very video game centric and cheap to run, like the gas fees and whatnot. However, we also considered that the price that Wax NFTs go for didn't really match what we wanted,
It's a cheaper price point, right? On Wax, like a far cheaper price point.
Mm-hmm. So it's, the top tier NFTs would be like about $50, which I think is decent. I would certainly pay that, but it didn't really match what we're going for. Basically, we wanted more money and we wanted less supply. Really, this sort of exclusive feel, I guess. And so the other only real choice was Solana, because we're both familiar with Solana from Heroes and Villains, and having used it to buy other NFTs and such. And I had researched myself. There was the Candy machine, which is your mint engine, that seemed pretty straightforward to set up. And it was like, all right, cool, that's nice. That's already been written for us. We just need to sort of apply it to our own project. And So yeah, Solana really just ticked the boxes, and that's what we went for, really.
Mm-hmm. And do you think now, in hindsight, would you have made? It sounds like for financial reasons, you would have made the same choice. Do you think Solana though has different types of buyers? Meaning, obviously, there's exceptions. There's always different people, different projects. But in my opinion, it seems like most of the projects run more on less illustrative art and more, it's kind of between pixel art and derivative art. There's not a lot of things that are Heroes and Villains quality or Crowfolk quality or that style. And there's not a lot of them that I've seen sell. So do you think that plays a role as well? That the Solana kind of people buying on Solana. So I've heard, and I have no proof of this, but I've heard a lot of people are younger who purchase on Solana. It's kind of a more hip young crowd, whereas compared to Ethereum, you have a much broader, obviously, audience.
No, I can totally see that. I do think Heroes and Villains and the Crowfolk are some of the best art on Solana. I would say Heroes and Villains just slightly better than Crowfolk, but whatever. I honestly thought there was a gap in the market. It never occurred to me that this isn't what sells. It just occurred to me that no one is selling great art on Solana other than Heroes and Villains. I can't name a couple more off the top of my head, but there is a few. There's been a few projects I've been very impressed with.
Well, I think one of them you liked, right? And I've heard you mention it in Crowfolk was Dronies was one of your inspirations. Was that right?
It's a gap in the market.
I
People
think
are crying
I think
out
Ross
for this sort of
froze
thing.
on me. Is he okay for you, Penguin?
He is back now. I think his phone is acting up.
Yeah, because I use the 4G. My internet is pitch here, so sorry. I can't remember. What was the last thing I said?
Oh, I was just bringing up that I believe, if I recalled right, Dronies were one that you were a fan of. That kind of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Compared to.
Although I will say the art was not stunning, but I just sort of enjoyed the atmosphere and certainly the hype around it. Like, it was quite palpable. You can feel it. So I bought in a few of them, and I hold them still to see. But I mean, the floor price is halved on that, so we'll see what happens. But clearly, what's going on there?
Oh, we're getting bad bandwidth in Scotland.
Bad bandwidth in Scotland. Ross, I don't know.
Comment from JPNM. Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, leave and come back.
Some random person in the chat saying that you owe him a fox, and shout out. So I guess based on some of the comments we're getting, we clearly missed the mark. We should have been advertising on MasterBrews Monday all along
before it existed.
Yeah. So Ross will be back momentarily, but
so I'll ask you. You might know the answer to this. I think you would. So this project was in part to fund further development of the video game, right? If I understood. Yep. And how far along is the video game? And then how does this affect the plans with it? If you guys have an update, I guess, on that.
Yeah. So the video game, actually, here's Ross.
Okay.
Oh, I caught you.
Pastry.
So Keith was just starting to ask me, obviously part of what we saw in Crowfolk was that it was going to raise money for the Nest video game. And so how does that affect this, or how does this affect that, really?
Well, the unsuccessful launch means that we cannot execute on a roadmap. There's certainly some money that we made that's been distributed already, which means that everything, the work that I wasn't doing during the production has pretty much been covered, which doesn't mean that we can move forward with the video game. Basically, it just means that expenses are paid for me, and that's it. But in saying that, I'm still pretty committed to our goals. I think, Penguin, you're keen to move forward as well.
Yeah.
With the NFT and keep it going. Essentially, we're going to revamp the whole thing. So we closed Mint. That was on Thursday. We closed Mint. We're going to be rethinking it. Well, yeah, may as well just talk about what we're thinking of doing. Is so it's going to be a new collection. It's going to be more numerous in supply, but it's also going to have different tiers. So instead of just having one sort of cast of Crowfolk, you're going to have three casts. You're going to have the Foragers, the Warriors, and the Mages. Foragers are going to be more numerous, or say the number that we're sort of sticking on just now is 3,333. Warriors would be 2,222, and the Mages would be 101 to 1.
101
I love that number. But essentially, each cast of Crowfolk is more badass, and they have a little story behind them. And you can imagine, like, a warrior would have a little backstory. We wouldn't make the backstory. It'd be sort of a la Heroes and Villains, create your own backstory. You know, it's nothing to do with us. It's you're a crow, you can make it up. And very, very possibly, perks could include this sort of your Crowfolk could be a myth within the video game, or your mage, probably mages, to be honest, because they're tiered NFTs. Each one is sort of better than the other one. It will have different perks. And also we're thinking about creating a free NFT launch as a sort of marketing tool. Also a cool NFT called Crowfolk Homes, which will be like, I'm not sure if you noticed in the crows that you got, Keith, but there's like little nests in the background in the tree.
Yeah, there was definitely one I had that I liked more than the other ones, but it was a very cool one. Wow.
So there's tiny nests behind there, and Crowfolk Homes would be, well, you start with, it would be a generative thing. So you start with this tiny nest, and like maybe it gets a window here, maybe it gets a different door here, maybe there's wings to each side, you know, so it sort of grows into this big home. But nothing set in stone. So we're just thinking, how do we revamp this? How do we get people interested again? Because it's almost like you don't want to just close Mint and then launch it again in 2 months, say, because it's like, well, people think, why would I buy this when I didn't buy it the first time? It's just the exact same thing, you know? So I feel like we have to create this whole new product, essentially, and release, I guess a whole new thing. Although we'd be reusing most of it, but we'd be doubling pretty much the art and the content, I guess, of the NFT, you know?
So speaking of the art,
sort of where we're at.
Yeah. So was it in any fashion generative, or was it something where you literally, for example, I don't know if you use Photoshop or what program, but where you actually just changed each layer and exported each of them like one by one by hand? So yeah, I'm just curious which method you went with, since there was 999, right? Yeah.
Well, I suppose it is an achievable number to do it one by one, but no, we did do generation here. So
okay.
Same thing as how we done the Heroes and Villains. You know, we made sure that we had all our assets saved out in the right position, and then put it through the generator and whatnot. So
now, what about the names?
Absolutely.
Did you use a generator for names, or did you guys meticulously come up with every single name?
We picked them. We picked about 100 of each. So we've got like the name as in, you know, Randall, say, or Various, or whatever. And then we have what we call the moniker, which we also picked about 100 of. The moniker could be, you know, the prophet, the oracle, the distinguished.
So there are repeated names, but they're different combinations with the monikers.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, I thought you guys picked 999 unique names.
Yeah, that would have been a pain in the arse.
Ross had me going through the Bible looking for.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of the names are fairly, you know, unique, not so common people names.
Yeah.
So I was like, I wonder if you guys, like, you know, meticulously chose 999 names and how long that would take.
No, we definitely Google searched sort of uncommon and oldie time names, you know. I think that was the actual Google search. And so we picked from whatever list we could find. But Randall, the scholar. I don't know, it just sounds epic. Just sounds, you know, as long as it's not Chad, the dude, you know.
The hanging dude. Chad the hanging.
We did it. Same 20-year-old joke no one will get. So this question from Medina, I do think is worth revisiting. If not now, then perhaps offline, because we haven't specifically discussed. I think the intention is for it to still be on Solana, but certainly it may be worth evaluating other options.
Yeah, I think it's worth evaluating, and I think if it was to be elsewhere, it would probably be Ethereum, just by virtue of the pure huge market share. 80% of NFTs bought on Ethereum. But then again, we still have the issue of deploying a smart contract, which is expensive. But I don't know. I guess if it comes to, and fingers crossed it does, if it comes to us having much more of a following and some hype behind us and yada yada, and we can see that it's going to generate a lot, then I'll find a way to come up with some cash to put on Ethereum, I suppose, if it makes sense to. I'm not saying we go for it, but yeah, I don't know. I'm definitely thinking Ethereum is a possibility over Solana.
Potentially, and I'm just mentioning this because we did it with Whelps and we've done it, we're doing it now with Ragnarok and the Heimdall package. When you release a few limited items, we've seen there are people interested, as long as they trust the people on the project, where they might pre-buy in advance. So meaning someone will basically put a deposit with you, and it sounds like, at your price point now you might reduce that. You probably still only need 2-3 sales to cover the entire contract deployment, right? And some of these costs you're mentioning. So potentially that's an avenue you can do where there are, maybe 10 really legendary Crowfolk that you pre-sell. And if people are interested in those, there you go. You have your funds needed to proceed with that method.
Yeah, totally. It's not a bad idea. I like it. And I do have this idea of, like I mentioned, tiered NFTs before. I also have another idea of, for the same project, it would be like one-on-ones of the main characters of the video game. So it's not all Crowfolk, So we've got like Red and Blue, who are like the boy and girl main birds, basically. We've got the spider people. We've got the spider people, the Beaver Republic. We've got the antagonist, the snake. We've got the snail. There's a ton of cool characters that could be one-on-ones within a collection. But yeah, there's certainly. I mean, there's no lack of content for us to use for that sort of thing. And yeah, it does seem like quite a wise idea,
I will mention for folks who might not be familiar. So we have announced, and this is official, and regardless of how the project went thus far, we're still doing this as long as you're still in agreement, which I think I know you are. So for Heroes and Villains, one of the sidekicks in our upcoming Sidekicks and Henchmen expansion, which will happen after the mint is finished and our game is a little further along, it'll be an exclusive character, right? It'll be a Crowfolk sidekick with the same fantastic art. And I guess people, if you picture an anthropomorphic crow, right? Like picture Howard the Duck if he was a crow. Maybe he'd be a little more gentlemanly. So that's something that, people will have to have a Crowfolk and a Heroes and Villains if they want a chance to mint that particular sidekick. If not, other sidekicks, anybody can come mint. It'll be a public mint. But for the exclusive ones, they'll be extra cool. They'll be special for the game. And we haven't revealed their full features of what they're doing in the game, but they have more than one function, right? So they're going to actually be part of the recruiting, but they're also going to be part of combat. And the best way to say it without spoiling it is if you know anything about Final Fantasy and their series, when you get summon materia, let's just kind of compare that to how sidekicks and henchmen will work. So I'll leave people to imagine what kind of cool stuff can happen there. But yeah, so there's going to be a Crowfolk one, and if people don't have a Crowfolk, they cannot mint it. They'll only be able to try to pry it off someone who I imagine would not want to part with it too easily. So yeah, that's a little extra thing that I wanted to mention, and I wanted to make sure people knew it was announced. it's still on the on the plans regardless, because one person did ask, hey, is that still going to happen now because there wasn't enough sales? Yeah, so that was never in jeopardy. We really think it'll be a cool character to have. We want to have a nice variety of sidekicks and henchmen, so that's absolutely confirming that's still the plan to anybody who was doubting it or wondering, or for people who just had no idea and never saw that announcement.
Beautiful. Well, thank you very much for the vote of confidence. I think it helps. I was also going to say, we also announced that anyone holding a Heroes and Villains who owns a Crowfolk will be raffled to win 3 spots. There's going to be 3 raffle winners that will get their Heroes and Villains portrayed as a Crowfolk, as a unique NFT. So we've not made an announcement on Crowfolk Discord yet saying that, but anyone listening here, be aware, if you hold a Crowfolk, then raffle's coming soon, basically. So I know Crypto Bingo's got one, I know Avoc's got one, I know JPMM's got one, I know, Various, we already done your one. I'm sorry.
Can't do another one.
So yeah, that's coming up soon. So if you hold a Crowfolk, just make sure and keep your eye on the announcements for the Discord.
So Solana is
Falcor, believes that Solana is the future. What are, as far as the game, is it going to be a blockchain game, or is it going to be a typical, more standalone video game?
Hold on, I'm tripping again. Can you guys hear me?
We're back.
Yes, you're back.
Okay, right. Sorry, my bad. So is it going to be a blockchain game? Sort of. As in, I'm not entirely sure how to answer this question. The plan certainly is we're going to have 2 modes of the game. We're going to have the story mode, which does not involve blockchain at all. And it's just purely, it's like a labor of love sort of thing. Like this is a story I want to make. But once that story is made, or at least once it's progressing, which means I've got all these cool art assets and we've got the movement down and whatnot, I want to make a competitive mode of the game, and this will be blockchain related. This is where your Crowfolk comes in. Essentially, it's going to be a speed run or a time trial sort of thing, like similar to what you'd get in Mario Kart, for example. Mm-hmm. You could race ghosts of people previously.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely, I should switch to saying Slipstream, I think, because I'm actually pretty excited about it. I can't wait. But yeah, so it's going to have like a ghost feature where you race against people's ghosts, or something like, say, JPMM has the lowest time to get from point A to point B. JPMM is in the lead, basically. It would be something along the lines of, you've got your in-game currency, which could be a token down the line. Perhaps it would be acorns, which people are currently earning in the Discord now. It would cost maybe 1 acorn to participate in 1 speedrun, basically. And at the end of each season, every acorn that's gone in the pot will be distributed to the 1, 2, 3, first, second, and third highest winners, and then distributed among maybe 50 people from then, sort of downwards progressively. And basically, it's just, I guess it's sort of a gamble, but it's also, you're putting your skill to use, and you're putting your Crowfolk to use, because you've noticed these skill points on the Crowfolk. You've got extra health, you've got extra speed, you've got extra jump. If you've got a great Crowfolk, then you've got a good chance of winning. So
yeah, my health is just 4. All my crows have health 1. They're not going to do very well.
But you just need to not jump into some spiky vines. You just have to have skill.
Sure. That's me. I'm nimble like a cat. Like Penguin's cat.
Yeah, like
Chris, which one?
Just about to attack me as we speak. So I had a couple thoughts. We're about to hit the 30-minute mark, so I think if there's any last thoughts from you, Ross.
I think we can go to 45 minutes. We have time, unless Ross doesn't have time. But
I'm good.
Yeah, or unless people tell us, please hang up now.
Yeah, boring.
And I also thought I also thought, and now I'm putting you on the spot, Various, because I haven't run it by you, but why don't we take the last 5 minutes and run an interactive Twitch game for a Ragnarok whitelist spot?
Yes, absolutely. Why not? You know,
Right.
crows and ravens are good friends, I hear.
That's what I hear. It's not actually the three-eyed raven; it's a three-eyed crow. Crows would like you to know. So
that's right.
Wow.
So as we continue on, if by the way, I'll do my influencer thing and say, make sure you hit that follow button if you're watching us on Twitch. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you are watching us on YouTube or Twitter. And if you are on another platform other than Twitch, head over to twitch.tv/MasterBrewsNFT so you'll be able to take part in the game at the end of the show.
Yeah. So hopefully you guys will we'll start doing this every Monday, have a guest every Monday, try to talk about some actual, useful knowledge, useful experiences. And on that line, I guess, Ross, we need you to provide advice now to all our viewers.
Right.
If someone out there is thinking about starting their own project, they may not have much funds, they may not know where to start. What would be your top 3 tips that you would give them? What would you like someone to give you as top 3 tips, 4 months ago or something?
Right. Gotcha. I would say be prepared for your expectations to not be met. and it's a joke, but it's also very true. I'm not sure how we went so terribly wrong in our expectations, but we had very high hopes. Even though we thought our hopes were quite conservative, our hopes were not met, not even half. So be prepared for failure, at least the first time you do it. I suppose every time you try something, you have to fail before you get it right. Be prepared for failure. Try and do something small before you do something big, probably would be a good one. And what else? Because that makes it 2. Let me see.
Yeah.
Third one.
Third one has to be the best one. So drop some knowledge.
Shit. I guess just surround yourself with capable people. Penguin, thank you. And mind you, I did ask Various for a fair bit of help as well. I was like, hey, how do you do this Cody thing? Developers asking. And so you helped out quite a lot. So
anytime. On that note, I guess some people might be curious, because you obviously, you came into this, we found you through Mark McKenna on Heroes of Villains. How does Mark feel about your project? Was he supportive? Was he indifferent? Did you talk to him about it much? How was the relationship as far as you doing your own thing? Because notably you've done a lot of stuff as part of his team, right? So I guess how, maybe you can speak to that for a minute for anyone curious.
Yeah. Mark is 100% behind me. He's always been very supportive. He's always been very, very good to me. He's always made sure I was sort of taken care of. And I hope that it's been vice versa. Anytime you need something done quickly, I'm on hand, so. And he does say often, which is sort of heartbreaking, he's like, well, I'm not going to be here forever. You need to, push the boat out, do it on your own as well. So yeah, 100%.
He'll be there. He'll be there forever.
I think so.
Like a tough lad.
So yeah, he's been very good. He's always like, just let me know when you're launching. I'll tweet about it and all that jazz. So yeah, he's been good. Couldn't ask for more, I think.
Great. Yeah, that's great to hear, because obviously, we're encouraging of Penguin as well, and we appreciate the fact you guys both brought it up to us, asked, is this cool? And that's obviously something, it's a mutual respect. So we're happy with that. That said, anyone else out there, if you try to steal our Penguin, ain't gonna go well. I'll take out the gauntlet.
How heavy did you say that thing weighed?
35 pounds.
Jesus.
And that's with the stones out. No. But it has been specifically designed so you cannot snap your fingers in it.
It's a shame, but you can crush someone's skull if you tried.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So since in the final five,
here I am.
That means we have about 5 minutes for you to give your closing thoughts / final comments. Anything you want to say,
And
how
here I've
it
been on
was tasty, whatever you like, Ross. It's yours for 5 minutes.
And here I've been on mute for I don't know how long, trying to impart my witticisms. But the one thing I did want to say, Ross, before you take it away is,
Yes, sir.
One of the things that I learned or took away from this as well is that you've got to pull out a little bit. We got very close to the project, very close to the board, very close to kind of in our own heads, or maybe convincing ourselves that there was more hype than seemed to actually exist at the end of the day. And so I think one of my biggest takeaways is to kind of zoom out a little bit and try to understand where are we actually at with hype levels and buy-in levels, and are we just so focused on this arbitrary date that we've set that we that we're missing things. And I think that's ultimately what happened. So
yeah, that's a good one. I think zooming out particularly and taking a sort of low resolution view on things instead of like zooming in and having all these details. You're missing big details.
I can tell you from our experience, like, you never know. Every drop is so different, and the ones you're most confident about can do horribly. The ones you're really worried about can be your sellouts. Given we've worked with numerous clients that have done the range of like $2 million sellouts, or some people have only had 10 minted, right? Like, we've had the full scope, and they're all varying. It's always impossible to tell. Like, there are a few things you can look for, but until that mint day hits, you will never know, is what I'd say.
Yeah, until the rubber hits the road, so to speak.
Yeah.
But yeah, also patience. I think you alluded to there, Penguin, about the date. Be patient, sit on it, and wait until it's ready, I suppose.
Yeah.
Instead of like, we need to get this out, which I think I was pretty stressed about, because I was very sort of in dire straits, because I wasn't working in the background. I was just focusing on Crowfolk, not earning any money, So I had a lot of hopes riding on, even if we only sell so much, that means that I am sort of comfortable to move on to the next stage of things and pay what I owe from the last few months, So I was concerned with money. But then I heard a saying recently from one of the guys who bought a Crowfolk. In fact, it was never do business when you're hungry or in a hurry, which alludes to,
they say that about doing groceries. They're like, never do groceries.
Yeah. You come home with just trolleys full of bread, pastries,
cookies for me. But yeah.
So we'll jump to the game as the last thing. But Ross, we want to thank you for coming on. Doing this. There's a lot of people who, I think, plenty of people who have had a project, have results way less than their expectations. And they just pull the plug, they vanish, you never see their face again. There are other people who just make up constant excuses and try to argue with their fan base. And so I think it says a lot that you guys, didn't get really anywhere near your expectations, but are still in it, are still revamping it, still tried to take care of everybody in the community. So, I already knew that about people like you and Penguin, but it's now proof to people out there, like, these are the type of people you are. And that is something I think that will follow you for whatever other projects you do. So
no, I love to hear that. Thank you for saying it, because it's we were really down in the dumps. It took days for us to sort of come back out of it and reframe things. But I thank you for saying that. It's good to hear.
And I think that's something I learned as well, is that you can't live and die with every drop, right? Some are going to be successful, some aren't, and life goes on. It has to.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. All right, so let's turn it over to I thought this was new Crittercraft. I'm like, I never heard of this.
So this is Grubfish Royale. So for those of you who have not played it, you want to make sure you're watching on the Twitch stream, twitch.tv/MasterBrewsNFT. And you want to hit !play in the Twitch chat right now. Don't worry about wallet ID. !play. And we're going to be playing for a Ragnarok whitelist spot. So Ragnarok is the MasterBrews latest project. For those of you who are not familiar, you can hit up our Ragnarok Discord channel as well. I'm just getting some links here into the chat as we're going, and I'll drop the Ragnarok Discord link as well.
Yeah, while we're on the topic, I believe we have an updated version fresh in that we're going to be testing for our custom Rumble Royale bot.
That's right.
It will be used everywhere, but we're going to probably start it off in Ragnarok, and it'll be there'll be some pretty cool ways to die.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what I'm going to say. And hopefully the bot won't keep abandoning us in the middle of fights like Rumble Royale does.
Yeah, it makes for some interesting scrambling.
I will just say, so Dance Pulley, he doesn't want to play because he already has whitelist, but you, just to make sure everyone's aware, as far as Ragnarok goes, you're allowed to get multiple whitelist spots because you can choose different factions for them. You're airdropped a nice runestone, which you can then either mint with or try to trade it, sell it, do whatever you want with it. It is an NFT. So don't let the fact you have a whitelist spot prevent you from playing.
Yeah.
But the fact that Paulie seems to always win, now maybe he wants to be nice to people. But
that's right. Yeah, that said, we have 9 people in and 19 people viewing. So let's get a couple more people in. !play in the Twitch chat. Make sure you are viewing us on Twitch. I did put the link in the YouTube comments as well, so you could head over to the Twitch, twitch.tv/MasterBrewsNFT. !play. Here comes Paulie. There we go. Now we can start. We'll give it another 1 minute.
So Ross, I have a stat for you. You have got us our highest number of viewers ever on a MasterBrews Monday.
That's right.
No surprise there. Eh?
No, all game for us. Awesome. 30 seconds, guys and people. 30 seconds, everyone. Folks. Twitch.tv/MasterBrewsNFT. Make sure you're hitting that !play in the Twitch chat.
And I do want to plug that we're doing an internal Ragnarok AMA in 17 minutes as it is.
That's right.
There will be some rather big news dropped on that one. So anybody here who is interested in Ragnarok, make sure you watch that one, or at least check it out later. Check out the announcements, because we are going to reveal something new. I believe 2 things that are new, and one of them is pretty important. So you probably want to watch it.
That's right.
Just saying, you probably want to watch it.
Just saying. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, let's do it. Let's play for that Ragnarok whitelist spot. Here we go. All right, you're going to see some commands across the top of your screen, ! charge, etc. You can use those. There is a 10-second delay.
So when you want to move faster, there's a 10-second delay?
That's right.
It doesn't seem very good.
But then you go really fast. There we go. Topaz Crypto just starting to charge.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Husky spinning in circles. Sometimes a good strategy. You can miss that claw blade.
So when these worms go through each other, they don't explode. It's only the level obstacles that kill them.
That's right.
That's right. Kind of odd.
Well, they are immune to each other as they are grubs, which is also true in real life. No, don't listen to me. Final 2, Husky BBF and Topaz Crypt. Let's see who's going to be.
Oh, one became a super bouncy ball.
Going for a charge. Topaz spinning. Let's see if your strategy pays off. And one of those strategies did pay off. Husky BBS, head over to the Discord of Ragnarok, discord.gg/Ragnarok NFT. I put it in the comments a little bit earlier, and open your ticket to claim your Ragnarok whitelist spot. All right. Any final thoughts from the crew?
Ross, leave us with something.
Love you guys. Thank you for supporting us. For everyone in MasterBrews Discord who came over to Crowfolk, you're all beautiful. And no, if you're thinking about trying your own NFT thing, go for it. But fall back on MasterBrews because it's the best.
That's right.
Well, actually, we have to say that you did not use MasterBrews for this project.
That's true.
So we just, some people were curious about that, and I guess we can go one more minute. What was I think I know the reason. The reasons were obviously nothing personal. You didn't hate MasterBrews, but I think it was you had, and I don't know if this was your brother or the other person working with you, but they were a dev and they were already interested in trying it. So I think that was kind of more of the I guess reason, or maybe not. Maybe you had some other reasons. So yeah, let's ask that question and just clarify for people, I guess, who might be wondering, why this was not a MasterBrews related project.
See, before I answer that, I did just have I was reminded of something. There was someone on the Crowfolk Discord who complained that we dropped the price from 3 sol down to 1 sol, and he said, I like MasterBrews as a company, but this is bullshit. I think it was a giveaway winner. And I was like, no, it's not MasterBrews. It's not MasterBrews. Yeah. Don't blame them. It's all on us. So I tried to defend your honor, but I'm not sure. So no, it was essentially, I was just looking at how can I do all of this myself, or close to it. How do I keep the percentages low, basically, is what I'm handing out. The developer who I'm working with is actually working on the game with me. He's helped me a lot. And I knew that the candy machine should be pretty straightforward to set up. So it was just a question of practicality. And nothing to do with MasterBrews' shit or anything.
We definitely take offense, and I know from just our conversations, you've been very curious about getting into coding yourself, right? And
that's right,
learning that aspect and stuff. So yeah, we understood why, and we were not insulted.
Not glad to hear.
So, yeah,
wonderful. All right, everybody, head over to the Ragnarok Discord, discord.gg/Ragnarok NFT. I'll drop it in the comments one more time. And you can meet us there in 10 minutes for we're
going to unleash the gods upon them.
That's right. All right, everybody, we will see you tomorrow for the MasterBrews Minute.
Which is a little quick, but maybe we'll have the MasterBrews Minute X2 in the future.
Bye, everyone.
All right, Ross, thank you very much again, and I'm sure we will see you and speak to you, as always, very soon.
Absolutely. See you soon.
See you soon.